Welcome to another update from Elixir's journey around the world. My name's Max, and back in 2019 I began restoring a 37-foot sailing boat with a group of friends. And since then we've sailed from the UK all the way to the Pacific coast of Mexico. While sailing up the seemingly endless Mexican coastline, we picked up a lot of different crew members, before spending some time preparing Elixir for the biggest passage of the trip so far. And on a quiet morning in April, Chloe, Alex and I waved our final goodbye to land. Ahead of us we had almost 3,000 miles of open ocean over 3 weeks of constant sailing, which would take us from the sleepy Mexican town of La Cruz to the distant shores of the Marquesas.
This is the last time we're lifting the mainsail for a really long time.
It's going to be up for 3 weeks now, hopefully.
Look at this beautiful sunrise we got in Banderas Bay.
We just lifted up the anchor and we're motoring out of the anchorage now. We said goodbye to our friend Cole. It's nice and glassy, there's no wind, so we're just going to run the engine for the first few hours, and yeah, we're just saying goodbye to Mexico, taking in the final views of land before it's just sea for 3.5 weeks. Yeah, how's everyone feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. I just talked to my parents and said goodbye, and they wished us fair seas. It's really a beautiful morning, so glassy out here. Not ideal to start for sailing, but yeah, we're really excited.
I think we've all kind of said it won't hit for the first few days at least, because we've had a few several day passages. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling like, I think, a healthy mix of nervous and excited. And yeah, we're just ready to go. Woo! Alex has been doing faces like that for the last few days.
So it's been almost 3 years since we left the UK, and since then we've ticked off almost 7,000 miles. If you could tick the subscribe button and put a smile on the faces of the Elixir crew, we'd be very grateful, and it helps out the journey a lot. Thank you. Since we're within a few miles of land, I'm just testing everything out to make sure we're all good. The water maker's running, the wind vane's working, all the sails are up, and we're sailing on a close reach out of Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. And the plan is to sail on this sort of tack until we reach a group of islands, Isla Clarion and Isla Socorro, I think they're called. They're about 500 miles offshore, and when we're out there we should be able to pick up the trade winds, and we'll be able to bear away a little bit, ease everything, and basically run downwind to the equator. So that's sort of our plan. But yeah, we're just watching land fade away into the distance at the moment, as you can see.
Hiya!
Hey, what's up?
I've got a really good stylish hat on right now. Yeah, we've had a good first couple of hours. We had to motor out of the bay and then the wind picked up and we're in a nice reach now. Alex cooked us a really delicious first breakfast at sea of some pancakes and mango and kiwis. So now we're really all powered up for the first day. Max has got Henry the wind vane going, so my watch is fortunately just consisting of watching.
It's always a strange mix of emotions leaving on a long passage like this. It's exciting to sail away from land into the massive expanse of water. However, it's equally overwhelming knowing that we had thousands of miles of open ocean and potentially a month at sea before we reached our destination. Back in 2021, we sailed across the Atlantic. However, not only is this a longer crossing, but it's a little bit more complicated. Before leaving on this trip, we had to wait for a low pressure system in the north of the Pacific to push some northerlies down to Mexico. We used the downflow from California and the Sea of Cortez to reach out to the islands of Socorro and Clarion, where we expect to pick up the northeasterly trade winds. Once we pick up the northeasterly trades, we run down to the equator, where we make our way through the doldrums or convergence zone. Here we can expect light winds, squalls and maybe even thunderstorms. Once we've made it across the equator and through the convergence zone, we'll pick up the southeast trade winds, which should carry us all the way to the Marquesas.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's pretty rocky. I've got my lead cloth up.
Oh yeah, it looks like it's doing a good job.
Yeah, it's doing all right.
So we left Mexico this morning and I guess we're like 10 hours in. We've already been 70 miles, which I think is really good, but it's quite windy. We're sailing on a close reach. It's pretty wet. There's a lot of water coming over the deck. And yeah, we basically need to stay on this tack for a few days, but slowly we should be able to ease off a little bit every day. So it's only going to get more comfortable, but yeah, this is sort of what we're dealing with at the moment. There's Chloe.
A little bit wet.
Wind vane doing a great job.
First sunset.
Yeah, first sunset at sea. Yeah, as you can see, we've got one reef in the main and a furled up head sail. Yeah.
We had a pretty rocky night. And we had to put 2 reefs in the sail. And I woke up and I had a bunch of dolphins run swimming near the boat makes it so much better.
It's our first morning of the crossing and we had a bit of a rough night last night. Quite a steep, sort of messy, confused sea just hitting us right on the beam on the side of the boat. So every now and then we would get a big wave that would just crash onto the side of the boat, push Elixir onto her side, and it was a little bit of an uncomfortable night, but we have made 150 miles in the first 24 hours, which is a pretty good start to the trip. As we made our way clear of land, the sea flattened off and we began to settle into our new life at sea. On a big passage like this, I think it's really important to stay busy and find some kind of routine. We take it in turns to complete 3-hour watches where we watch out for other boats or any changes in the weather. This also means that after each watch we get 6 hours off where we can cook, read, sleep, wash, or even just sit and stare out at the horizon. The sunset and sunrise watches are the best. There's nothing quite like watching the sun disappear or emerge from the horizon whilst at sea. It always takes a few days to find a rhythm and catch up on sleep. The first few nights can be uncomfortable and it takes time to get used to the constant motion of the boat.
Don't show them my runniest porridge ever. This is not it's not a good look. Big morning.
Las chispas.
Las chispas de chocolate.
Even though we're in the trade winds, we have noticed the wind has been picking up and dropping off quite a lot, which means we've had to put in reefs and take out reefs pretty much every day since we left. This morning it was kind of windy, so we put a reef in the mainsail and now it's just starting to drop off, so we're gonna shake it out. We fully noticed the difference of this new sail from Precision Sails. I really noticed it on the first 2 or 3 days out of Mexico when the wind was on the beam and we were reaching, and hadn't seen Elixir move that fast before through the water. Yeah, so it's really amazing how much difference a new sail can make.
Day 4. We've just cleared 450 miles, so I feel like we're making really good progress. It's been grey all day today and I feel like it's coincided with us all settling into the trip a bit more. I feel like our energy's a bit lower, we're kind of finding our pace and our routine. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, which is really nice. I'm already on book 3, like it's amazing just to have the time to read, and with the wind vane doing his thing, you just need to pop your head up every now and again to check the sails are good, check the bearings, check for any boats, but we've not seen much at all. Yeah, it's very chilled. It's going good.
What's it like being a lake sailor on the big blue ocean?
The water's like super, super deep blue, and the water in the lake is like a greenish, kind of more brown color. When we get sprayed by a wave, we have like salt on our bodies everywhere. It's nice being out here at night. You know, it feels like we're so small and it's like a little eerie out here, so I'm really just kind of getting used to like the expansiveness of all of this. It's only day 4, so I wonder how I'll feel like when we're really like in the middle of the sorry.
It's all right.
When we're in the middle of the ocean. I had morning shift from 6 to 9 when the sun rose. And all of a sudden there were tiny little squid all over the boat, which kind of freaked me out.
You said it looked like a murder scene.
Yeah! And like the eyes on the squid are so big that it feels, I don't know, it was creeping me out a little bit. I guess not enough for me to not eat squid, but the water is so blue. Especially when the sun is shining on it, it freaks me out a little bit.
You're scared of all that blue?
Yeah, what the heck?
Alex's takeaway feeling so far. Freaked out.
Freaked out.
Super
Freaked
steamy
out.
now though.
I'm curious, Max was saying at night when we're fishing that sometimes you catch like weird creepy fish, and so I'm kind of curious what that means. I hope that we catch a fish soon. We still haven't, and we've got all this stuff to roll up some sushi. So hopefully we can do that before the cucumber and our last avocado goes bad.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really happy to be here. I always think it's really nice to be out here, like just literally out in the middle of the ocean with Elixir, my home and everything. Just out here. It's a really surreal feeling. Henry, the wind vane, is really the MVP.
Yeah, MVP.
We didn't really have to do anything apart from trim the sails, and the wind vane is just steering the whole time. He was out here through the first night where there was water crashing over the deck, the cockpit was soaked, and Henry's just out there steering for the whole night. Yeah, with Henry it really makes it a totally different experience. You can just chill, make some food, read your book, and not have to worry about actually steering the boat. I find it takes about a week to settle into the routine of being at sea. One of my favourite things about offshore sailing is being able to escape from the busyness and distractions of life on land and form this deep connection with the ocean. As long as you have a good crew, it leads to a relaxed and stress-free experience. Money, jobs, cars, relationships, all of these things cease to exist in the middle of the ocean, bringing about a pure and simple and almost euphoric way of living. Our days are literally spent reading, eating, stretching, and sailing. On passage, our lives are dictated by the rhythm of the sun and the moon, the strength of the wind, and whoever's turn it is to cook or stand watch. I feel like the simplicity allows some deep part of human nature to come forward. Like, this is where humans are meant to be, outside and living a life dictated by the natural world. I think I'm addicted to that simplicity and that euphoric sense of belonging in nature that comes with sailing across an ocean. And that's the feeling that I've been chasing ever since leaving the UK 4 years ago.
Because the mainsail was chafing on the spreaders and on the rigging, we've gone for the classic downwind twin headsail setup. I really like it for going like dead downwind because you don't have to worry about chafe and the boat's really well balanced. Whereas if you have the mainsail on one side and the headsail on the other side, I find that the boat kind of wants to head up into the wind and it's a bit all over the place. Whereas with these two headsails, the boat is very directionally stable. It's a lot easier for the wind vane to handle and it's generally more comfortable. It takes a little bit of setting up, but the beauty is you can furl both headsails at the same time. If you see a squall coming, you can literally just furl both sails in.
Whoa. This is gonna freak me out a little bit. I'm cutting up veggies to make some sushi rolls. We caught a tuna this morning. Well, Max did on his shift. So we're gonna put some seaweed and some sushi rice and see how this goes.
We left last Saturday and it's now Saturday. But what is a day? What is time? That's how I'm starting to feel at the moment. It's been super cruisy. We're all like touching wood that it keeps staying like this. We started going downwind now, so that's something new. Going at around 5 knots, so making fairly good speed. Haven't seen as much sea life as we expected, which is a bit of a shame, but we've had like a crew of boobies following us, which has been kind of nice to check in with them every day. And some flying fish as well. Never seen flying fish before, that was quite exciting.
Do you wish we had Starlink on the boat so that we could speak to everyone?
No, I'm happy to just like text our parent group chat a couple times a week to let them know we're all good. Obviously I'm missing my friends and family a lot and looking forward to checking in with them, but for now, no. Elon Wi-Fi.
We're in the trade winds now, the northeast trade winds, and we've got the boat rigged with 2 big head sails poled out either side, which I think is a really good sail setup for going downwind. We've had this setup for like 2 days and we haven't really done any changes, which has been kind of nice, so it's a little bit of a lazy way to sail. So yeah, now we're just running before this like pretty steady northerly wind, which should shift to like northwesterly in the next few days. It should take us down to 5-6 degrees north, and at that latitude we're expecting to lose the trade winds and then go into the convergence zone. I'm not really sure what to expect. The wind's going to drop, obviously. There's probably going to be some squalls. We might have to run the engine a bit, I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, I just really enjoy the feeling of being out here, being semi-self-sufficient, sailing every day, and just being surrounded by unobstructed ocean, like an empty horizon for days. We haven't seen any boats.
Each day brought us closer to the equator. It was getting warmer and warmer, and we spent most of the days hiding from the harsh tropical sun. The wind died even more and the sea flattened off too, and we had a few days of remarkably smooth downwind sailing.
Today the wind's really dropped off and we're trying to get as much sail up as we can. We've pulled down one of the head sails and stuck up the symmetrical spinnaker for the day, and it seems to be doing a good job. We're still moving, but it's not ideal. We're making the most of what little wind we have. And because we've got so much fish, we've decided to salt some of it, which is a way of preserving it if you don't have a freezer. Basically what you do is you cut the fillets and then sprinkle salt on top and leave them to dry in the sun, which is what we've been doing, as you can see. So hopefully after a few days these will be dry and we can store them away.
The last few days have been a lot hotter. It's been nice, but I feel like we've been trying to find a little bit more shade, and We've been taking a little bit more I guess I've been taking more bucket showers and going up on the bow, drying off in the sun. It's nice. A couple days ago, I don't remember how many days ago, we started doing wing on wing with 2 foresails, which has been nice and was a little calmer, but somehow also now it's been really wavy, so we've been kind of like just rolly, but it's been nice when we have wind. In pockets where we don't have wind, it's been a little bit like agonizing, but now we've got the spinnaker up today, and I was just writing down in my journal that the red bits in it remind me of home because we have a really big red spinnaker on our boat, so it's been nice to have it up. It's really weird to be away from land this long. It feels like we're in this weird limbo dream state. I don't know how to explain it. You just come upstairs for your shift every day, and it's just the water and us on the boat, and we just focus on our shifts, eating and sleeping, and just fill in the rest. It's quite simple.
As much as we appreciated the serenity of the peaceful days at sea, it would have been nice to have a little bit more wind to keep us moving. We started off the trip averaging 150 miles a day, and in this period of light wind, we struggled to maintain 100. But patience is one of the great lessons of sailing, and you learn to sail with the wind that you have, not the wind you wish you had, or the wind that you thought you would have. But the sunsets were nice, and in the meantime, we found other ways to keep ourselves occupied.
Oh, there he is. There she blows. Just over there.
Whoa, look at its head.
Yeah.
I've seen this before. Oh,
Can't see him now. Oh. So last night I was on night watch from midnight to 3 a.m. It was like about 1 a.m. Sat in the cockpit doing a bit of cat-cow, having my stretches to try and keep me awake. Suddenly looked up to check the sails, and the spinnaker was just gone, and I was like, oh, that's not right. Looked into the water, and it was just swimming alongside the starboard side of the boat. I could just see the red and white covered in phosphorescence, so I just Max! Spinnaker's fallen off!
The swivel has pulled out of the top of the spinnaker because it's a really old sail, and the halyard is still at the top of the mast. Now, we can definitely fix the sail, and I really want to use the spinnaker again. There's no other halyards that we can use, which means someone has to go up to the top of the mast to fetch the halyard and bring it back down again so we can fix the sail and hoist it again. Because today is another day of great spinnaker conditions, so it seems a shame to miss out on that, so I'm going to go up to the top of the mast to get the halyard and bring it down again.
Climbing to the top of Elixir's mast is scary enough, let alone in the middle of an ocean. Thankfully, it was a calm day. Nevertheless, it was still moving around a lot up there.
I'm not going to lie, it's kind of scary up here. Never been a fan of heights, but it is a cool view. Okay, can you start to slowly let me down, please? I thought you wanted a picture.
Yeah, Alex maybe being sick.
Is she alright?
Just a bit. How do you feel after lifting Max up the mast?
God.
It's all that tuna he's been eating. There's the halyard though. How's the weather up there, Caitlin?
Alright, ready for the hoist? Just be ready to use sheet in or sheet out if I say. More on the port side, I think.
It felt great to have the kite back up again, and for another day or so, Elixir was flying along under blue skies. However, just as we suspected, we were closing in on the convergence zone, and our streak of fine weather was about to be broken.
We've hit our first squall. It's the first time me and Max have seen rain in about 5 months, probably. So we're going to take the poles down, because at the moment we're heading north, which is not the direction we want to be going in. I'm going to stay in the cockpit and man the sheets. Max is going to go
Ready.
out front, looking like a seaman.
Yep.
Squalls are a common part of crossing oceans. They are almost like mini weather systems that can last anywhere from 20 minutes to a few hours. You never really know what they're going to bring. Often rain and an increase in wind, as well as some big wind shifts. Sometimes they bring lightning too. Thankfully, they are very easy to spot and look like a cluster of dark clouds and rain on the horizon. We hadn't seen any on the passage so far, but as we drew closer and closer to the equator, we expected them to become more and more frequent. After the squall passes, the trade winds fill in again. We're expecting to enter the convergence zone any day now, where the wind would probably die off and we'd either have to wait for it to pick up again or use the engine. But luckily for us, the wind stayed constant and the big symmetrical spinnaker became the most valuable sail on the boat.
Try to write a little boat song. We'll see. It's nice just being up here with the waves. It's a really hard task and it hurts your fingers, but there's not very much to do, so why not? I feel like a couple days ago we had like a day with no wind and it was kind of agonizing.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, the days are kind of jumbled, huh? But I'm glad we have wind again. We're going at a good pace and we've got a squall behind us, which is why we maybe seem a little anxious. Dun, dun, dun!
Has anything significant happened in the last 3 days?
First squall, which was fine. Que mas? J'ai appris français. Un peu de français. On m'a livre. Parce que nous allons à Polynesia française. Je ne sais pas. It was quite slow last night. I was starting to go a bit crazy. You realise the vastness and the isolation when you're not really moving. When you're going fast it's okay because it feels like you're actually getting somewhere, but when you're going at like 1.5 knots, suddenly the ocean seems a lot bigger.
When these squalls come from behind, they often bring rain, but also like an increase in wind. So you want to make sure you're not carrying like a load of sail when they hit. We've had a really good spinnaker run today. We've had the kite up like all day. The wind's been really nice from behind. We still have the trade winds and I'm hoping they'll last for as long as possible. We'll see what happens with this squall, but yeah, it's been good sailing for the last, well, day, I guess.
Being caught out by a squall with a spinnaker up would be very silly indeed, so we pulled it down and shortened sail. And sure enough, within 10 minutes it began to rain. We were well into the convergence zone by now, and we guessed that these rain squalls were a sign of things to come.
We're halfway!
Whoa, shit.
Woo! I've got some energy. We've got some other monotone feelings on the boat. It's a little gray, but we're halfway. It's exciting.
How do you feel about being halfway?
Yeah, it's alright, isn't it? It's quite early. I'm quite tired. Another squall, squall number 3. One reef in the main. Genoa's furled, bit of rain, but it kind of looks like it's passed to the side of us. We might not get the like nastiest, biggest grey bit of it over us. But I need a shower, so I could use some rain.
Will you let it out?
Please close my window, please. Please, sir, please.
This
is what I get for putting sun cream on. Alex is out here, it's not even her watch.
It's exciting. It makes the
This squall was a big one. It blew hard for a few hours and even managed to whip up a short, steep sea. One wave was powerful enough to take out Elixir's wind vane, and we were forced to hand steer until the sea flattened off and we could fix it. It was an eventful way to cross the halfway point, and although it was wet and windy, we were grateful not to be stuck without any wind in the doldrums. Stay tuned for part 2. Thanks again for watching another one of our updates. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you want to sail on Elixir, then sign up to our Patreon to be the first to hear any crew calls that I'm going to put out in the future. And also check out our merch, organic cotton, water-based ink, designed by Layla. They're great. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next video.